Don't you just wish, as homeschool moms of kids with special needs, that we could simply Google search curriculum for kids with autism, curriculum for kids with ADHD, curriculum for kids with auditory processing disorder, and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, when that happens, a lot of times we find things that might work for those kids, but nothing that's specifically designed for those diagnoses. While I know this can be frustrating, it's actually a blessing in disguise. The beauty of homeschool curriculum is that it is designed to help you and your child where they're at. And it's just a matter of knowing what the right questions are to ask to find what might work for your child with those diagnoses. So today, I'm going to give you 5 questions that you can ask to help you find the right curriculum for you and your specific child. I'm also going to give you a few ideas of what fits under these categories, but please do not feel limited by this list. These are just things that I have specifically used myself that fit into these 5 questions, and you can modify and adjust as needed. Not every child on any one of these diagnoses is exactly the same, and not all of our children need the exact same things, but this should help you narrow it down. The first question to ask is this multisensory approach? Or at least, is it a sensory approach that matches with my child's strengths and not their weaknesses? So for example, we want to have things a lot of times that have a lot of different ways of connecting with the brain. So things that we can see, that we can touch and move around, things that we hear, maybe things that we repeat back or have action to them. The more ways of inputting the information and practicing the information, the more likely it is to stick for all of our kids, but especially our kids with special needs. And even if a curriculum isn't exactly multi-sensory, you can find curriculums that at least lend themselves better to your child's strengths. So if your child does not do well with auditory learning at all, then maybe don't choose an all audio curriculum. Pick something that has a textbook and some hands-on activities, or something with visuals to help reinforce those audio learning. Some of my favorite multisensory approach curriculums is all about reading. It has lots of different things that you are doing as you are listening to lessons that are being taught to you, as you are practicing and moving around letter tiles and games to have that kinesthetic aspect. You are reading words, you are hearing the different lessons that are being taught, you have pieces that you are moving around, you are playing and manipulating different words and things as you go, which helps it to stick better. Matthew C is another great one for a multisensory approach. They have video lessons for you to watch, they have worksheets for you to practice information, and they have hands-on manipulatives like the number blocks that you can use to help you work out the different math problems. And if you're looking for something for the preschool age, I highly recommend Purely Preschool, as that one is also a very multisensory approach. Each unit covers about a month's worth of time, and during that time you're going to have books that you're going to read, you're going to have very simple doable activities that you can do with your child. They have questions that you can ask them. It's very good at that multisensory approach. And I'll leave links down below to all of these curriculums here in the description. The second question that you want to ask is, does these have short but impactful lessons? With many special needs kiddos, there is going to be a shorter attention span and a need for more consistency rather than length of lesson. This will help your child retain the information better, maintain focus, and reduce overwhelm in your homeschool. A few of my favorites for this is Fix It Grammar. It has 1 sentence a day that you are fixing and you're applying different grammar rules to. This is something for older kids, but it is something that I really appreciate. And so many people say, is it really enough? It takes 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes max. But the truth is, those short, impactful lessons help my children to be able to actually utilize those skills and to help reduce the friction there. Explode the Code is another great example of short but impactful lessons. We use this as a supplement in our homeschool, but it's a great thing to practice different phonics rules. They have them in all different levels, including, and this is very important for your special needs learners, is they have half lessons. They have level 1 and then they have level 1.5. So if your child is getting most of what's being taught in level 1, but not quite ready to go to level 2, you can sit and review more so in level 1.5. And Math with Confidence is another great one that has those short and easy lessons to complete. It doesn't take much time, but again, it does use that multisensory approach, has more hands-on learning opportunities, so it tends to stick better, and you don't have to stay in a subject for a long time in order to master it. That brings us to question number 3. Does the curriculum you're looking at include a lot of review? Again, these facts are true for all kids, but especially kids with special needs. You are going to need more review. With kids with dyslexia, they need tons more repetition than the average child in order to actually be able to remember different words or letter sounds. The same goes with our kiddos who maybe have some processing issues or delays. They are going to need to see that information and to practice it and play with it and encounter that information in multiple different avenues in order to be able to remember it. So PAL is one of those curriculums. If you are looking for kindergarten to second grade, this is a great curriculum created by IEW, Institutes in Excellence in Writing. And this one goes through, they have handwriting, they have reading. You can do them together, you can do them separate. I will leave a link down below for a video that you can check out on that curriculum and what all it entails. But this one involves a lot of review. You go through and you play file folder games every single day for about 15 to 30 minutes a day, depending on the age of your child and your preferences, but they're constantly reviewing old concepts. Speaking of IEW, I really like their structure and style writing for older kids. This is something where you are reviewing concepts, and you might wonder, how can you review concepts with writing? But they are kind of building a system, a structure and style of writing that they are building on and continuing to review. So you start out with a keyword outline, then you do the keyword outline and you do a summary page, and then you do rough drafts, and you keep building and building and building until you're getting into these full papers, but you're kind of always staying back in this original rhythm, this original structure there. And it really helps my kids to be able to master that and to just improve in their writing instead of constantly trying to change the structure and style of the writing. And another one that's great for review is IXL. So we have recently started using IXL in our homeschool for one of my kiddos with special needs. She does it on the tablet. She reviews for about an hour a day, and then she can take it with her to doctor's appointments and things like that on the go. But one of the things I like about it is it allows her to test and kind of assess what skills she might be weaker on, and then it just gives her practice of those skills that she is weaker on. So right now she's working on a lot of money practice. As we're learning to count coins, we still have not mastered that. So having that review and that ability to just hone in on those things that we just need more work on is a huge help. The fourth thing that I like to ask is it possible to find a curriculum that is leveled instead of grade level? And what I mean by that is to be able to say you're in book 1, book 2, book 3, instead of it saying first grade, second grade, third grade. It seems like such a small thing to you as a parent, but it's a big thing to your child. Oftentimes, especially as your child is getting older, there's more awareness that they are quote unquote behind their peers, and that can be a big struggle. So I really like to pick things that have either leveled just by numbers, or even better yet, that have totally different names. A great example of this is Grammar Galaxy. Grammar Galaxy is a grammar program. I love to use it all the time with my kids before they're old enough to go into Fix-It grammar. And with that, they have Nebula, Red Star, Blue Star, Yellow Star. Yes, there are numbers on there, but the names are what your kids focus on instead of worrying about the volume. All About Spelling does this as well. They have level 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 7, but they encourage everybody, regardless of their age, to start at level 1. This is really helpful for your kids so that they're not feeling that kind of pull. And with All About Spelling, one of the beauties of it is when you start with level 1, if it is too easy for your child, they have advanced word lists within that level that kind of work off of the things that are already being taught and just challenges them a little bit. So it helps if your child maybe has some splintered skills when it comes to spelling. The fifth and final question that you need to ask is, does this curriculum fit my time budget? Yes, your financial budget is incredibly important, and I would say that is probably a bonus sixth question you should be asking as well. But your time budget is going to be incredibly important as a homeschooling mom of special needs kids. This does not mean you should not choose teacher-intensive subjects. I actually have quite a few programs that I use that are very teacher-intensive. However, I'm very careful with budgeting my time. So I choose to pick teacher-intensive programs for those subjects that my child is really struggling with, or things like reading, where it's a very key foundational thing and will make all the other subjects either harder or easier depending on their level. So it's a good idea to balance out your budget, balance out your curriculum, and pick things that maybe are more predominantly independent or low key on mom so that you can be more aggressive in those areas that need more help. So some of our favorites for this are like Apology of Science or Biblioplan. These are both group subjects that you can do as a family so you can have all the kids at one time. They both have audio textbook options. Biblioplan is for history and Apologia is for science. These are great ways to get great information, but to kind of do it all at one time and help your budget on time be a little bit lower. Other ones that we love are teaching textbooks for math. Most of my kiddos who are 3rd grade and up use teaching textbooks, and they're able to do it fairly independently. And when you're looking at things like extracurriculars, there are a lot of great online programs where your kids can do them independently. One of our favorites is Homeschool for Teens. My son is currently doing a graphic design course. One of my other sons has done their YouTube for Kids course. If you want to know what are the things that you should be considering as a homeschooling parent of special needs kids beyond just curriculum, be sure to check out this video here.